Okay, so today is day 30. Now, there was another audio issue. Like I've already bought my Bitcoin today. Um, so I purchased the $333. So now we're just under 11,000 bucks. So I have just under 17% of a Bitcoin. And another thing too is I bought some Cosmos, and I'm going to go over why. And I think again, I'm not going to buy a lot of it. I'm just going to buy. I bought around $1,000 worth. That's it. And I still have the chain link and the Algorand. So, and I'm just going to show you a video today I found very interesting as to why. You might want to look into Cosmos, but again, this isn't financial advice. But this is just, it's just something to look into because again, it's like I said before, it's very, very similar to the .com boom. It wasn't just one company that made a lot of money. Like there's a lot of companies that went up like crazy, so on and so forth. So it's just, it's just something to look into because what this Cosmos is, it could potentially be a platform. So like you can trade seamlessly between cryptos and whatnot. Because say for instance, like Ethereum, you can't trade Bitcoin with Ethereum seamlessly. They're not in the same network. So that's what Cosmos, and there's another one, I think it's called Thor, does kind of the same thing. But again, and the way this one person describes it, it makes sense. You can't just be, closed-minded and just think about one coin or whatever. You have to open your mind up. And like I said, I saw it with this whole .com thing. I remember seeing kids make millions of dollars trading all these .com companies. And because I was taking, traditional type finance, we were always told, you look at the earnings per share, the EPS, you look at, the dividends, you look at, all the fundamentals of what made a company. None of these .com companies had any fundamentals, and they were trading for obscene amounts of money, and people were getting insanely rich. And meanwhile, I was standing on the sidelines. I bought a little bit, but not much. But like I'm telling you right now, you're going to see the same thing with this whole cryptocurrency thing. To a lot of people, especially older people, it's not going to make sense. They're going to be saying, oh, this isn't real. This isn't that. I'll tell you what is real. When you look in your bank account, you have millions of dollars because, whatever. And again, this isn't financial advice. I'm not telling you to do this, but I'm just saying it's food for thought, and, it's just something to look at. So we're going to hear what this guy has to say, and then we'll discuss it further.
As we know that altcoins are highly correlated to Bitcoin, in this video I will explain why altcoin market is about to explode, then a crypto pioneer Eric Voorhees will reveal his favorite altcoin with a huge potential. Let's start with the coin market cap. As of the time of this recording, Bitcoin is trading slightly over $47,000 a coin. It has been trading around that price range for about 2 weeks already. Some people start getting bored from this what it seems to be endless price consolidation. Personally, I don't mind it. Unlike Bitcoin, it has been down 1% for the past 24 hours. Ethereum is staying relatively strong. It's up by 3.7% for the past 24 hours, with the current price of over $1,540 a coin. Much more on Ethereum later. Cardano ADA is taking a dip. It's down by 22% for the past 7 days, and now the price dropped below 2017 all-time high. If Cardano will drop by another 3% or so and Binance BNB stays constant, then those two will swap places. BNB will take 4th place and Cardano will take 5th place respectively. Also, we have a new altcoin in the top 10, Uniswap. Uniswap crypto shows a strong growth with 13% price appreciation in the past 7 days. It's made its way up to 8th place as the most valuable cryptocurrency in terms of market capitalization. It's currently trading of more than $27 a coin with a market cap of $14 billion. I am not going to be surprised if in foreseeable future we will see Uniswap in the top 5 cryptos. Quick side note, MicroStrategy just bought more Bitcoin. They purchased 205 Bitcoins for $10 million in cash at an average price of $48,888 per coin. If someone's buying Bitcoin right now, it must be Michael Saylor. Keep in mind guys, there is not enough whole Bitcoins in the world for every millionaire at the same time. there won't be more than 21 million Bitcoin in existence, and there are over 47 million millionaires, so you can do the math. Now, MicroStrategy holds more than 91,000 Bitcoin acquired for $2.2 billion at an average price of $24,000 per coin. As of the current price, the total acquisition of $4.27 billion. So MicroStrategy created more than $2 billion for its shareholders' wealth. Well done, Michael Saylor. Here's the funny meme. Those who are very hyper-impulsive needs to do that to keep the self-disciplines in check. Because on the other side of the trade is always Michael Saylor. Now, let's take a look at this cool list of the biggest banks in the world. Bitcoin.
Now, this I find extremely, extremely interesting. Now, just think about this for a minute here. You can say that Bitcoin is a bank because it's functioning as a bank, right? If you were to classify Bitcoin as a bank, it is by far the biggest bank in the world. It's only been around 10 years. A lot of these banks have been around hundreds of years. JP Morgan Chase, this used to be, part of JP Morgan, which was, the tycoon of the the Gilded Age, 1920s, early 20th century, right? So JP Morgan Chase been around forever. Bank of America. These were all the products of major consolidations of really tiny banks in the States. They during that saving and loans crisis in the 80s, they all consolidated to make these mammoth banks. So this is years and years of consolidation, acquisitions, takeover, so on and so forth. 469 billion. Bitcoin, more than double the size of JP Morgan Chase. About triple the size of Bank of America. Bigger than, way bigger than all the Chinese banks. China's dominating the world of finance, right? Well, the world of everything. The States is afraid that they're going to take their number one spot. Bitcoin is bigger than all the Chinese banks that are doing all the financing for their construction. Think of all the construction China's doing right now. Very similar to what America would have done, in the late 1800s, early 20th century. That's when New York started to become a giant and all these places were building up like crazy. Well, China's going through that right now. Bitcoin's bigger than China's construction bank. Look at Ethereum. Ethereum is bigger than Wells Fargo. Bigger than Citigroup. Bigger than the Bank of China. This is really, really interesting. I never would have thought, and again, Bitcoin's only 10 years old. It was a bunch of idiots in a basement, trading it at one time. So to go from, neckbeard, living in mom's basement dude to the biggest bank in the world. No, think about that. That is nothing short of a miracle. And, but anyways, I just thought I'd point that out. So we'll get back to the video now.
And of course, is the biggest global bank in the world with a market cap slightly under $1 trillion. The second biggest bank is JP Morgan Chase, that is half the size of the Bitcoin's value. We also have here Ethereum takes 5th place as the biggest self-sovereign bank in the world. What is funny about those banks is throughout the history, money were physical goods, so people actually needed a trustworthy brick building to protect the physical goods. But now all money became digital, but we still have those brick buildings. The reason why this is the case, because there is no incentive for monetary innovation. Why to distribute power if we can keep all to ourselves? That's the mentality central banks and smaller banks have. But it all changes right in front of our eyes. Speaking of Ethereum, ETH number of non-zero addresses reaching one all-time high after another. Currently, there are more than 55 million addresses with some amount of ETH in it. It started growing linearly not from 2017 retail frenzy bull market, but from 2018 bear market. Bear markets are very important because when the hype vanishes away, the leaders and the entire team have to put their heads down and get to work. And this is exactly what Ethereum developers have been doing. Not only Ethereum, many others as well. Ethereum 2.0 active validators and the number of staked ETH continues to grow. Keep in mind you need only 32 ETH to become ETH validator. Probably the easiest way to do so is through Coinbase. There is still waiting list for the Ethereum 2.0 staking rewards on Coinbase. If you will stake with them, you will be able to generate 7.5% APY just by simply holding UETH at Coinbase. As of the time of this video, there's slightly less than 3.4 million ETH have been staked and supporting Ethereum 2.0 network. 3.4 million ETH at the current price of around $1,540, that would be $5.2 billion are currently protecting and supporting Ethereum 2.0 network. And this is also after ETH dropped by 25% from $2,000 to the current price. Ethereum is growing indeed. Here is a very bullish chart about altcoins. It looks like altcoins are set for another explosion. As we can see in the first cycle, when altcoins reached a level of the previous all-time high, then it exploded. In this cycle, altcoins just surpassed 2017 all-time high. If the history plays out once again, we might see a massive altcoin season. This is how altcoins are being compared to Bitcoin. Bitcoin broke its 2017 all-time high back in December 2020, and since then it's more than doubled. Altcoins usually follow Bitcoin right behind it. Around 2 weeks ago, altcoins broke its 2017 all-time high as well. If Bitcoin market continues, altcoin market will follow right behind it, but some altcoins will outperform Bitcoin by a lot. Now, let's take a quick look at this video from Real Vision, where early Bitcoin pioneer Eric Voorhees explains what is his favorite altcoin and what he thinks about DeFi. Let's take a look.
This Bitcoin maximalism thing is really prevalent right now. I mean, you see it a lot on Twitter. I see it a lot on Twitter. Yeah. Why?
It drives me crazy.
Well, yeah, me too. But why do you think it is like that? I've got my own thoughts on it, but I'd love to hear why you think it's so strong.
I think the fundamental reason is that there's a very human tendency toward tribalism. Like humans evolved in these small tribes. There's a lot of survival reasons why people have affection and trust for those around them and fear for those who are not part of their tribe. Like that's ingrained into our minds. And it expresses itself, I think, in a lot of ways, from people who are vehement sports fans, right? And they love their team and they hate every other team, to people who love their political party and hate every other political party. And it has emerged in crypto, right? And you have all these different crypto projects. You can understand why someone who owns and loves Bitcoin would look at these other projects as competition, or just dismiss them as scams, or as a.
So again, this is why I was talking about getting into other altcoins. Is again, you do have to like train yourself to be a little bit open-minded, because like I said, there's different purposes for different things. Like if you need your car fixed, you don't go to a baker, you go to a mechanic. If you want a loaf of bread, you don't go to a mechanic, you go to a baker. You know, in society, there's going to be different things that serve different purposes, right? And a lot of people criticize, they'll say, oh, Bitcoin can't do this, Bitcoin can't do that. I don't think it has to be the be all and end all of anything. I don't think anything has to be all and end all of everything. Like the way you got to look at it is you have a toolbox and you need different tools for different applications. That's essentially what you have to be looking at. And you kind of have to rid yourself of this, like, you know, blind, you know, like you have these blinders on that you can only like one thing, right? So yeah, what he's going to be getting at, he's going to touch on this is like, again, like you have to realize that there's different needs for different cryptos out there, and certain ones are going to serve one purpose and that's it, but they'll be very good at it. And then they're going to work in concert with the other cryptos, right? This is what he's going to be getting at. So I just want to point that out, that again, you don't have to say, I like this one and I hate that one or whatever. You can you have to be educated on what each one does, what each one brings to the table, and how they can work, like I said, in concert with one another. Okay, so that's what he's going to be talking about here.
Distraction. And so they fall into this kind of perpetuating spell of needing to justify why Bitcoin is better than anything else and why those things are always bad. And I think it's very poisonous. It leads to whatever facts they learn about or whatever stories they hear, they start painting in the Bitcoin good, other coin bad narrative, right? So every time they hear something bad about Ethereum, they'll think about that, and they'll regurgitate the bad thing, and they'll recite the bad thing about Ethereum on Twitter. And every time they hear a bad thing about Bitcoin, they'll do the opposite. They'll justify it, they'll dismiss it, they'll defend it.
The votes are in, and our customers.
They will come up with a long argument about why it's not actually that big of a deal. And so they'll defend their tribe and they will ridicule the other tribe. And it just is like this perpetuating phenomenon. Yeah, and that's what really sucks about it, because it distracts people from the important picture, right? Like, it's great to make money. I've made lots of money in crypto, the vast majority from the appreciation in Bitcoin itself. That's awesome. I love that. But that's not the point. The point is not to make a bunch of money. There's a lot of ways to do that in life. The point is to actually change how money works and how finance works and how the entire global economic exchange apparatus works at a fundamental level. And anything that advances that cause should be applauded, and anything that harms that cause, I think, is fair game for ridicule. So, I see these different experiments as attempts at moving this out, right? Even if Bitcoin is the best money the world has ever seen, and I've made the argument for close to a decade, money itself is not the sum total of financial interaction. You need tooling, you need financial services, right? You need all these different things that money itself is not. And Ethereum comes along and allows people to start building some of this tooling in a decentralized way. So profoundly important, like so inspiring and magical as money doing that.
When Ethereum first came along, and you were, Eric, the Bitcoin maximalist, so you see Ethereum, what did you think?
To be honest, I didn't understand it enough at the start. So I did not buy into its token sale. I've known Vitalik since he was like 18, writing for Bitcoin Magazine. So I should have been a little closer and like ready to pounce on that opportunity, but the fault lies with me because I did not understand this whole concept of smart contracts and Turing complete blockchain. It did not make sense to me at the time. I understand it now, but back then I didn't. So I kind of just thought it's this weird thing, and I wasn't quite sure what to make of it, but was kind of skeptical.
So where do DEXs go from here? Because right now, I mean, as the whole world gets tokenized and everything becomes a digital transfer of value, it sounds like there's something really big here, and I can't get my head around it.
Yes, they will consume more and more trade volume. The big step for DEXs now is to go out of Ethereum. All DEXs today generally are Ethereum based, and you can only trade Ethereum and ERC20 tokens. Right. Now that's still the majority of assets, but it doesn't include Bitcoin, the most important asset of all, right? It doesn't include many of the other important chains on the base layer. It doesn't include Monero, for example. The next step is doing cross-chain decentralized trading at scale with liquidity pools. There is a project called Thorchain that is doing that. They have not fully launched yet, so they still need to prove some things. But if that works as intended, you will be able to trade native Bitcoin on the Bitcoin chain for native Ethereum on the Ethereum chain through a decentralized, highly liquid trade. That will be an absolute game changer, and I think that will be the theme of this year of 2021. Is that will start happening.
The interoperability layer is something that seems that it's coming as well. As everybody builds out these kind of networks and protocols and applications, there's a feeling that there's another layer to come on top of that ties it all together to make it seamless. What's your thoughts on that? And that's what it sounds like Thor is doing really there within that somewhat.
We currently have these islands of chains, right? Bitcoin, and then you have Ethereum with all its tokens on it, but these things don't really talk to each other. A few projects have been trying to solve that. I'd say the most prominent one is Cosmos. Cosmos is essentially trying to build an ecosystem of chains that can talk to each other, of bridges between disparate chains, so that a Bitcoin can go into a Bitcoin address, a one-to-one backed token on a Cosmos zone is created, that can move across to a different zone in Cosmos and then be converted to some other asset on some other chain, all of which have no counterparties, all of which have no central custodians or anything. So Cosmos is the most ambitious. It is launching this thing called IBC, inter-blockchain communication, like just in a week or two. It's been 4 years in the works. And so that will be big. And again, that hasn't been proven yet. So it's sort of like, it still needs to vet itself. But if that happens, you'll start seeing these chains be able to have their own advantages and still work with each other, right? Bitcoin has advantages that Ethereum can't and doesn't have, and vice versa. And a world that has both of these things easily composable together is a better world. So Cosmos is doing that. I believe Polkadot is trying to do that as well.
Okay, so this is getting back to like I was saying, I bought some Cosmos because it's supposed to integrate everything. And again, I didn't buy a lot. I bought like $1,000 worth. But like I said, getting back to the old example I always use, the .com craze. There were people making millions off these little companies just because I had .com beside their name. Now, I'm not saying Cosmos or this Thor chain is a scam or anything, but I'm just saying you'll be surprised at like the amount of money that can be made by getting these really small altcoins right out of the gates. Not that Cosmos is out of the gates, but I'll be watching this. I'll be totally honest. I'll be watching this Thor chain, and if when it comes out, if I can get a piece of it, I'll get some. And but like I said, they're going to be working in concert. You don't just have to like Bitcoin. Like I think Bitcoin's going to be the main. That's why I'm doing the dollar cost averaging on it. That's going to be my main thing. But I'm definitely going to look into more of these altcoins and just take it from there. So anyways, that's it for today. It's just a little basic, look at some altcoins. And like, again, we'll keep viewing it as time progresses. But I do think that there's going to be big things coming in the next few months as far as altcoins are concerned and how they work together. But again, the biggest takeaway from this for me is just how big Bitcoin is in relation to the other banks. I didn't realize that in relation to other banks, it's dwarfed all the other banks. I did not realize it was at that point now, and it's just begun. So anyways, that's it for today. And I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.